Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Michael J. Maher with another edition of the weekly Words of Wisdom on how do you jumpstart your life and career. We have a very special guest with us today and a very special co-host here today. And I will get to that in just 1 second, but I have to tell you, first and foremost, happy holidays. Happy holidays. I tell you, are you having happy holidays or are you having some not so happy holidays? What is it, right? So the bottom line is 2020 is coming to an end. And as much as I hate to tell you this, 2021 is going to be more like 2020 than it will be 2019. I'm sorry. It's going to be, there's going to be lockdown. There's going to be shutdown. There's going to be animosity. There's going to be diversity. There's going to be, maybe even riots. There might be protests. There might be, who knows, right? But the bottom line is you need to focus. And focus has a couple of acronyms I'm going to give to you today, right? Because every day is an acronym in the Maher household. A Maher is even an acronym. Making a home everyone's reality. That's what we do, right? But here's the thing. Focus. Finish one challenge until success. Finish one challenge until success. That's what focus really is just when you're on something, be on it like a dog on a bone and just keep going and get it until it is a success, until you're finished. Finish what you start. And the other one is follow one course until success. I'm one of those people. It's like, everybody's like, well, I read 52 books this year. That's awesome. Which is worse? Someone who can't read, like totally can't read, or someone who can read but doesn't, right? And I have to tell you, though, the person who can read but doesn't is, I think, a sadder tale than the one who doesn't know how to read. So you read 52 books, but my next question is like, what did you retain? What did you do? Reading is actually a passive performance, right? Reading, anybody can read. You can read all day long. Here's the thing. I got this advice from Howard Brinton about 15 years ago. And he said, instead of reading 52 different books, why don't you take the same book and read it 12 times? Right? It's like, what a concept. Have you read 7L 12 times? I'm telling you, I wrote it so that you could read it 12 times and get something new every time. It's at least 7 reads deep. I'm telling you, there's things that you will pick up that you never even heard or read the first time. So I'm going to encourage you to get into that. I had a couple testimonials here, but I'm going to, you know what? I am going to read one of them. I have to read it. I have to do it because it makes me feel good. When you guys do this stuff, it's like, we got to make it happen. So, all right. I did not ask her permission, so I'm hoping that, I hope she's okay with that. Kelly Stevenson wrote the following. I started reading 7L this morning and I'm on page 23. Okay. The rest of you, you could read up to page 23, by the time this wow's done. I'm not even joking, right? So Kelly Stevenson is out of Nashville, Tennessee, started reading 7L this morning. I had to email it to tell you, I am Rick, all caps, 3 exclamation marks. Seriously, tears in my eyes when I read every thought he has. Even the one about who would actually attend his funeral. His thoughts are my thoughts, except I have actually said that one to my husband. I am so excited to finish this book today and let you know how I feel. I've never read anything, and I read daily, that has hit me to my core, quite like 7L. Please thank Michael for writing it and for being his support. If I never read another page, I already see light at the end of the tunnel. Kelly Stevenson, Nashville, Tennessee. Right? Come on now, dude. I'm not going to tear up. It's the holidays, but it's one of those come on, I mean, let's all do it. And I have to tell you, today is as much about a jump start as it is in conquering average, you know, and complacency. You know, what I see out there a lot is like the status quo is okay. Like it's okay to be average. And yet the average are broke. They're broke, you know, or they have a job, which means they're just over broke. JOB, another acronym for you. And it's one of those where I think it's harder to break over average and to break out of average than it is to break out of poverty. Like I came out of poverty, extremely poor. I broke out of that. And I think it's like, once you've experienced that, like it's a discomfort you never want to feel again. It's the worst, you know, it's the worst, even being made fun of because, you know, you've got ratty clothes or you're wearing the hand-me-downs of your older brothers and thanking God that you only had one older sister, if you know what I'm talking about there, right? So I think the bottom line is that many of the people who listen to the Generosity Generation and the Weekly Wow, like we sometimes get into complacency and we get into average, and average is okay. But I'm going to tell you that make 2021 the year where you put average in your rearview mirror. Like you're no longer going to be average. You are going to be extraordinary. You're going to be a top producer. You're going to be coached. You're going to be trained. You're going to be focused. You're going to be taking it to the next level. And something snaps inside of you where you are never satisfied with average again, ever. And I mean that. Like, don't be satisfied with okay, just making your bills, just making your payments, just making things okay. You've done 12 transactions every year forever, you're okay. No, this is the year you go to 24. This is the year you go to 36, right? This is the year that things start to hum for you. And it doesn't take a monumental feat. You know what it takes? A 1 degree tweak. A 1 degree tweak. It's easier than you think. It's simpler than you think, but it has to start with a spark. It has to start with a catalyst. And we have a catalyst here today. We have a couple of catalysts here today. And the first person that I want to introduce is Thommy Sandvick. First time ever introducing them this way. Now, you guys know him, right? He's been a recurring member within the group and on the Weekly Wow. Like he should be like Weekly Wow. He just gives us a Weekly Wow every time in the group. And Referco has recently retained his services. He is the VP of Community Experience, right? I think that's like ComEx for short or something. We're gonna have to come up with a friendly shortened version of that. Starting today, he is all things Gen in the group and also all over our coaching. And I'm excited to announce that we're going to talk a little bit about how you can get coached and trained leading into 2021, utilizing Referco services. And welcome to the Weekly Wow, Mr. Thommy Sandvick, my co-host today. I'm going to just say co-host, right?
Awesome. I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. So incredibly excited. I know it's going to be awesome stuff. And oh my gosh, so much stuff that's going to be coming. So I am just super excited.
What's amazing is like he's been doing this, like he's been helping us for like 6 months, but he like recently is more official for like a week. And the difference is already there. Like we've already seen things run smoother. We've seen things go faster. We've seen technology already adapted, and it's in a very, very short time. So very excited about the future with that. And I hope that all of you in the comments below will congratulate and welcome Thommy to the Referco family and the Referco team, and be there right with me. So awesome stuff. And you know what, like, you know, we could have just made this the Thommy show, right? We could have just talked about, introduced him, what's his vision on what we're going to do. And that sounds like the great focus of a future Weekly Wow. But you know what he did? He's like, I want to get Jenna on. And it's like, okay, I like the unselfishness of this. I like where we're going with this. And so Jennah LeBruno-Pust.
Yes.
All right. Pust. P-U-S-T, born and raised. She is a realtor out of Orlando, Florida. She has been born and raised in Orlando, Florida, but also a realtor out of Orlando, Florida. And she has been licensed for 7 years. She's a busy mom of 2 boys. I know many of us can relate to the parenting thing. And also the happy wife, happy life to Dustin. So Jenna, welcome to the Weekly Wow. And I can't wait to hear your words of wisdom. Welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I just can't even believe I'm sitting here. Something I never thought would come true. And here we are. So I'm so excited to talk to you guys today and give you some insight about what I've gone through and how amazing Tommy's coaching has been.
Yeah, I think that's really where we have to go with this is that, in talks with Thommy over the last few months, he has really reflected back what I think are some of the values of this group above and beyond love and generosity and appreciation is putting implementers in the spotlight. If you want to be on the Weekly Wow, like who wants to be on the Weekly Wow? You can comment below. And even if this is the recording that you're watching, who wants to be on the Weekly Wow? And it's like the formula to be on the Weekly Wow is extremely simple. Implement. Implementation is the key to getting in the spotlight with what, and we have people who have produced 12 transactions. We've had people who produced 24. We've had people who have produced 100. We've had people who have produced 500. We have had people who have produced 1,000 transactions, like the Weimer, Jenny Weimer in Orlando, Florida as well. So it's one of those where, the key to all this is implementation, not perfect implementation. There's going to be failures. There's going to be mistakes. There's going to be hiccups, but implementation. So just do it, because I think what Jenna's story is going to do for a lot of people here is going to break some limiting beliefs that a lot of you have, but also it's going to inspire you to implement, because that's the key, right? I mean, Jenna, you've been in the business for 7 years, 7 years, but your business recently, and I mean very recently, COVID, pandemic, lockdown, stay at home. Yeah. Like, virtual schooling, and yet your business exploded. So what the heck happened?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, in the midst of COVID, I had my son in June, and family's always been so important to me. I have a 5-year-old little boy. This is my second little boy. And I just knew that I wanted to give them the world. And I'm sitting here, it's been 7 years. I am consistently doing the same amount of business. I don't have to work too hard for my business because I have a large network here, and the referrals come. I'm in a BNI group. It's the foundation is there. But I just knew once I had Weston in June, I said, I want a better life for all of us. What can I do? I knew that I needed coaching, but I had tried coaching in the past. Didn't work. Not at all. I had a bad experience, and I'm at this point where I'm going, okay, I need some accountability. I need some help. I really felt that pull towards implementing something, and I didn't know what it was. So when Tommy's program was offered to me, I said, what the heck, I'll go for it. It can't hurt. So the very first sessions, I was very honest with myself, which is something that changed in my previous experience with coaching to this experience. And I think that that's the hardest part of coaching, is being mentally ready to be honest with yourself and be accountable, and be honest and accountable with someone else as well. So here I am. I'm probably 2 months postpartum, very chaotic. It's summertime, so I'm busy with work as well as kids. And it was a very raw time for me, but I committed to being honest and being open with Thommy, and just expressing what I felt like my weaknesses were. And Tommy's coaching really customizes the plan to you in your own weaknesses, which is what's different, I feel like, about his program. So that's really the essence of what happened. Was I was mentally prepared to do the work and to be upfront with myself and with him. And once I committed to that in my mind, I saw instant results. I saw results in my productivity. I saw results in my overall energy. I saw results in my happiness, my relationships, not just at home, but with my network as well. It overflowed into my business. It created this magnetic force between myself and my already established database. And after that, the referrals just started pouring in.
So, all right. So I want to back that up a little bit to, all right. Number one, the energy that's coming out of you is awesome. You know, like there's an energy with awesomeness that you can't get from average. You know, there's a lack of energy with average, and there's an energy with being awesome. There's energy with growth. You know, how do we develop energy? We develop it through growth. And I want to talk, so you've been coached before, you know, and everybody, when they get into real estate, it's almost like, hey, I got my license. What should I do next? Get a coach. And it's like, okay, that may not be the best advice ever, but you know, you had coaching. How did it fall short for you? The coaching that you had before.
So the previous coaching I had was, it was not in alignment with who I am. And I was given tasks to do, you know, weekly, daily, and I didn't want to do them because they weren't who I was. I was not comfortable scouting the internet. I was not comfortable calling people that I had not talked to in years. And these were just some of the tactics that I was presented with previously. And so what ended up happening was I wasn't doing them. And then I'd get on my coaching call that I'm paying a lot of money for, and I ended up feeling worse because I'm not doing the tasks that they told me to. I'm not seeing the results. I felt like I was being judged, whether I was or wasn't. I was in my own shell thinking, you know, just self-conscious about doing things that aren't in alignment with who I was. So I felt like this person was judging me. And at the end of the day, it was a lot of money to waste to feel bad about myself.
Yeah. Yeah. That's you. I think you literally just told the story of 99.5% of all coaching clients in the world, right? Yeah. Is we go into it and we're like, all right, I'm not sure what coaching is, but I've heard I need it, so I'm going to get coaching. And then they're telling you got to call all these strangers and you got to do all these things that are so out of the comfort zone that it's not even funny. But it's not out of the comfort zone of growth. It's out of the comfort zone of human, of being human. It's like, I wouldn't want a human to do that to me. And you're telling me I've got to, and then what happens is you're like, all right, so this is the only way to succeed in real estate. Well, that person just got coached right out of real estate.
Absolutely.
That's, you know, go Thommy. I'll tell you what, Thommy is such a great reflection on things, because it's like, so one of the things he absolutely loves this Genergy speech that I do. And it really it's called The Death of a Salesman and the Birth of a Legacy. And, you know, that's the death of a salesman, is that they didn't die or commit professional suicide because they failed. The process failed them. The business failed them. The coach failed them. And hopefully that's what people get out of 7L and what we teach and what Thommy teaches is that, you know, there's a human approach to sales that not only does it feel good, but it also does good. You know, it also does big time production numbers and helps you achieve the dreams and the goals that you want to achieve. Right. So I love that. It's like, I mean, honestly, early in the business, you could have gotten out after, I mean, did you have any considerations of getting out of the business after going to those coaching sessions?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I have gotten certified to teach in the past since I've acquired my real estate license. I tried that. It didn't work. I am not a teacher. I absolutely, I'm looking at, you know, what jobs are available if this doesn't work. What if I'm always thinking, okay, I'm not going to meet my numbers from last year. Worst case scenario, if I decrease in my numbers, what am I going to do? What's my backup plan? And I don't have that feeling anymore. And it's a really good place to be.
Here's the kicker to it all. And Thommy, I'd love for you to comment on this, is that, we need Jenna in real estate. We need more Jennas in real estate. And what happened is the coaching process and the training process for years weeded out the humans, the good humans. And the only ones that made it were the ones who were willing to do anything to anyone and stick it to anyone. And so guess what happened? The real estate world has a reputation of being not trustworthy, being pushy, being, too much, too all. And that's the bottom line, is we need more Jennas. Right, Thommy?
Yeah, that's 100%. And that it happens across industries. I mean, it happens in the insurance industry. It happens in network marketing industry. It happens in so many, like, we've literally been taught that the only way to do business is by not doing it by being human. I always root back to go a little biblical, like Jesus didn't like cold call to get, build this 2,000 year thing he's got going, 2,000 plus year, right? No, it was 10 people, 12, 2 backstabs, but okay. So sometimes you get a bad apple, right? But it's like, that just going back to that, it was human. It was word of mouth. It was alignment. It was values driven. And that's ultimately what led us. And that's what drew me to Jen was so much of that, because I would always find success, quick success, but I couldn't sustain it because at the end of the day, you're like, well, now what? Market or cold call? And I'm like, neither one of those is working. But when people work with me individually, then it works. So we've been taught that people like Jenna, when she came to me, I said, what didn't work in your coaching, right? And what do you want? And then I said, hey, if you don't want to cold call, great news. I'm never going to ask you to cold call. I will be more upset if you do than if you don't along the way. So, and we need more people doing business on relationships. And I think 2020 has accelerated that. That's why when the shutdown happened, I made the jump from healthcare brokerage to stepping into this fully, because I said, I don't want to talk about healthcare anymore. No offense to those of you that do, of course, but I realized now's the time for relationship building. Now is the time.
Yeah. And community
more
building.
Great people. Yeah.
Right. Relationship building and community building. And they go hand in hand. They really do. And so how did you two get connected? So how did Jenna become a coaching client of Thommy? I'm genuinely curious. So Jenna, you tell us the story, and then Thommy, you don't correct her. How about that?
Okay.
Because that's how great relationships work. So, yeah.
I actually am a personal friend of Tommy's. We both live in the Orlando area, and he's in my BNI group. And like he just mentioned, he was previously in group healthcare benefits seat in our BNI group. And for those of you that don't know what BNI is, it is a networking group. It's highly accountable. We meet once a week, and it's a very tight-knit group of professionals that refer each other's services. And we do a lot of other stuff together, but that's the premise of the BNI group. So I've known Thommy now at this point for 2 years, but when this all started, it was about 1.5 years, and Thommy had been committed to this group health benefits seat in our group. And in the process of COVID and going from being face-to-face in our weekly meetings to being virtual, he had switched over to coaching, and I just was asleep. Again, I did have a baby in the midst of it, but I'll blame it on that. But I still, when I thought of Thommy, I'm thinking of this group healthcare seat. So anyways, long story short, I make a post on Facebook and I'm like, guys, I am ready to start, coaching again. I'm interested in it. Tag your best coaches. Tommy's like, Jenna, I just switched. I just switched into coaching full-time. Let's chat.
Nice.
So, yep, we did. And it was the best Facebook post I think I've had.
There you go. So what's interesting is the best Facebook post you ever had was looking for help.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a lesson for a lot of people here too, is a lot of and maybe not inside this group as much as maybe as a whole, but a lot of people feel like that Facebook is fake book. You've got to put on this ultimate front that you know it all and that you are it all. And being vulnerable and transparent and showing that you're not a know-it-all is far more attractive than a know-it-all. So putting out there that, hey, I need help, I need a connection, is a great way to do that. And in this case, it turned out to be, kind of like the referral of a lifetime scenario, right? The post of a lifetime.
Yeah.
So I love that. Thommy, similar story from your side of things?
Yeah, from my end, what was interesting in the growth in that was by the time that post came, I had never said, I was really focused on what I thought was going to be B2B. And so I was coming from that healthcare background, and I really worked, with Arnell on developing that and learning how to help B2B service professionals. So when she made the post, I reached out, I said, hey, I know I don't really talk about coaching real estate, but like I am kind of involved with Gen. So I've got a lot of realtors around me. We should at least have a conversation. She goes, oh yeah, I didn't even realize. Like, yeah, definitely. And so we just set up the first call and went from there. So but it took a while for me to, the growth point in there for me was just really being able, it's a burst of courage. Because it would have been so easy to be in my own head and
I'm not a real estate coach, right?
Yeah. And then, but I think something that comes out of the book is taking responsibility for other people's perception in some ways. And I'm like, okay, well, I haven't put that out. It's not Jenna's fault. That's on me. So I should at least ask, because I knew that we had a very warm relationship. And, not for nothing, but hey, she was at my first event. So she's watched the whole journey in 7L. And then, so it just made a lot of sense.
And you had a net, right? You had a little bit of a safety net that you had me and access to me to like, if you got stuck in a real estate world, you could go back. You never needed it. Right.
No.
But the bottom line is that you had a lot of access to a lot of real estate agents who, if you did get stuck, you could access to it. In fact, maybe even a bigger network nationally than Jenna had before. Right.
Yeah.
So it's one of those where that's awesome. So what have been the results? Everybody wants to know the results, right? And so let me ask you this, Jenna, is tell me your first 6 years, and then this is the 7th year. So tell us kind of, you don't have to give exact numbers because I didn't ask you to do that as part of the prep for the show, but it's like, what was that progression as far as like transactions and volume, right?
I think my first year I made like $3,000. And every year I did increase my numbers, and I am a committed person and I love real estate. So I've always worked, but I never saw the progression that other people was seeing. And so I remember it was probably 3 or 4 years ago, I was standing in my broker's office, and I had gotten, it was probably August time, and I had gotten my commission. He handed me my commission check, and it had put me over the $40,000 mark for the year. And he said, congratulations, you've made an official salary that most people make in the real world. And
now, what year was that?
That's got to be probably 2017, I would say.
So 3 years ago?
Yes. So ever since then, I have increased my business every year, substantially have increased my business. And last year I did 22 transactions total on my own. And this year we're at the end of the year here, but by December 31st, assuming everything closes on time, I will be at the 32 transaction mark.
Yeah, nice. So
yeah, I made that jump this year.
And had a baby.
Right.
And had a few months off. Right. And really a lot of your production's been the second half of the year, right? August, you started coaching with Thommy.
Yeah.
Nine homes under contracts in 6 days.
Yep.
Okay. So how did you get 9 homes under contract in 6 days? Right.
Yeah.
Not in 6 months, everybody. I want everybody to know that was in like less than a week. Right.
Yeah.
So in 1 week, she did nine homes under contract. So how did that work?
Yeah. So the
Sounds
9
like a busy week.
And it was a really busy week, and it hasn't slowed down. But the 9 houses in 6 days happened the first week of November. So if you back it up and run the timeline, I started coaching about mid-August.
Mm-hmm.
So by September 1st, I was making waves with my initial community. I did my phone calls, my power notes, everything that 7L has you do set up to do. So by mid-September, a month after, I've got my pipeline for 2021 stacked because everybody answered the phone and said, hey, so great to hear from you. Put me on your calendar for next year. So, okay, I'm super excited that my pipeline for next year is stacked. But ironically, that happened first. And then the now referrals has started pouring in. So I made these phone calls, these very intentional phone calls. I gave a ton of referrals out, more so than I usually do. And at that point, it was probably mid-September that the referrals started pouring in, and I just nurtured them, like you usually do. It takes about 6 weeks to get people up and running, pre-approved, listing agreement signed, homes prepared to be sold. And by November 1st, I should say the first week of November is when those started actually coming to fruition and realization. So I still have other referrals that are, coming in after that. But that first week of November, if you look back on a calendar and look at what I was doing to get to that point, it all makes sense. And it's really because I started the coaching 2 to 3 months before that. And then all these referrals started to pour in.
Well, and you did the implementation in between there.
Absolutely.
And you did it because it felt good. You did it because, you would want somebody to write you a note. You would want somebody to call you and check on you. You would want, all of these things that apply to you would apply to the people that you were communicating. And this cumulative effect created momentum in your database that it happened to come to fruition all in 1 week because you had put so much energy into it in such a short time. So I love that. And, so great income to finish the year. Merry Christmas, by the way, Jenna. That's awesome.
Yes, thank you.
So Thommy, Jenna gives you a ton of credit for her success, and it's been a great team between the two of you. What, from a coaching perspective, what did you work with Jenna to establish and do? Like, what were some of the things she implemented? Because people are watching this, they want to know, what do I implement? What do I do? That's kind of like that. And so what are the things that you put into place with her that really seem to work?
Yeah, I've been working really hard on creating a systemized, standardized, step-by-step methodology to start in 7L. So what we did first, the first thing's always like arranging the database, making sure you have the information. And we spent some time going through just really getting clear on the database. While we were doing that, we were working on mindset things to get reduce overwhelm, kind of like get manage the energy, do the ideal week exercise from the book, things like that, so that we can be prepared. Because I knew the results, I felt pretty good. The results are going to come. It's just, and when we got to be ready when we get there so that we can keep it going. So we worked on there. On the 7L side of things, it's ranking. So the very first podcast episodes, there's the movie theater exercise that's all around energy. I think it's episodes 3 and 4, somewhere in there.
Yeah, the 25 at a time.
Yeah, and so we went through on that idea of, let's just look at where you view your relationship as being good right now. And let's focus there where we think we have the most energy. All right, hold a second,
Thommy, go through the movie theater. So we have people who are wondering, so what is the movie theater exercise?
Sure. Yeah, so the idea is if you had a movie theater that was, and you were only allowed to bring 25 people, who would be those 25 people that you want to bring? And you're going, not necessarily at that point, it's not even about value to the business or how many referrals they've given. It's just, who do I like? Mm-hmm. Who do you get together with and just have electric energy with? And you're just so in alignment with that person. That's your first 25. So we went through the database kind of through that same lens of looking at, forget what people do. Let's just focus on who they are and your energy and how much you match with them. and start there as your first point of contact. And when you look at it like, oh, call someone from 20 years ago that you haven't talked to in a while. It's okay if they reject you because they didn't call you anyway. It's ridiculous. Like, let's call the people we have energy with. How about that? And build our confidence along the way.
I'll tell you, I have a story on that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a fun story. It's not a friendly story on the, I mean, there's so Janice Joplin is a old time blues singer, phenomenal singer, great voice. And she actually went back to her high school reunion and she thought everybody was going to be treating her like the famous person she was and all that. And she dressed a little like outlandishly. Well, she didn't get the validation and the applause that she thought she would, right? From these 20-year, actually not quite that long for her, but 10, 15-year old relationships. And I mean, the sad story goes, right, that a couple of weeks later, she overdosed in a hotel room, right? Because she didn't get the validation. She didn't get the verification. She didn't get the edification. She didn't get the famous thing, right? They treated her like they did in high school, which was pretty dirty, right? And it's one of those where it's like, that is not a great strategy, right? That is not a great, the best relationship you'll get is the next one. It really is. Why? Because you know how to build relationships, because you know from 7L how to build relationships. And here's what's really cool. The next best relationship in your life will be the next one, because you'll be a little better at it because of how you built that relationship. The problem with life is we got all these relationships before we knew how to build relationships. So we built them at a 3, 4, 5, or 6 level. Now, because we have a system, the 7L system, we can build relationships at a 10 level with everyone from now on. And guess what? Once you built a 10 level relationship, you're always going to have a 9, 10 level relationship with that person. They think you're awesome for life. You may not be, but guess what? They think you are. And if they think you are, then you are.
Right.
So there.
I'd like to chime in real quick. So part of what I went through with Thommy's coaching in the beginning is knowing that it's okay, being okay with saying some relationships aren't magnetic and energetic, and actually some relationships take energy from you. Mm-hmm. And so you have to recognize that, realize that, lean into it, be okay with not saying goodbye, but refocusing your energy to the people that do give back to you tenfold. And that is where the energy and the momentum comes from. I remember one day calling Thommy and saying, if I ever say I don't want to make my calls, tell me to make one call, because the energy that I just got from that phone call is more than a cup of coffee or 2 cups of coffee could do for me.
That's great advice, because it is so true. It's energizing, right?
Absolutely.
The first call will create momentum. I love that. And it's one of those where it's so attractive. I just had a coaching client who I was talking to, and it was one of those where, like, she is a nice looking female, right? So she's had some all she's done is do things like the 333, where she follows up politely, and she's had some men who kind of took it the wrong way, right? She showed genuine interest because she was. So, we had to go through this dialogue of how do you counter that? Hey, listen, I'm looking to build a strong professional relationship. I'm here to build a strong professional relationship, right? And we kind of have to set those, but it's so attractive. Like, it's so attractive to build business this way that, you know what? You need to filter, because otherwise you're going to have all these mediocre relationships that aren't going to fulfill you. You're going to have a lot. I mean, and it happens very quickly, as Jenna, I think, shows, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I love the movie theater example. That's a great first start, Thommy. I love that as a way to get started, because it's like, all right, who are 25 people you just want to hang out with? And those are the people who are most likely to refer anyway. Battle planners, you know who you are. If you're a battle planner, put Battle Plan 2021 in the comments below. Here's the thing. He just gave you, you're like, who do I invite to the first board of advisors? It's the movie theater strategy. Yep. That's who you're going to have at your first board of advisors. So I love that. And lots of good stuff. So I feel like now is the time to talk about like coaching, right? I don't always talk like the weekly wow. A lot of times it's, you know, it's entertainment, it's education, and it's pretty good, right? We don't do a lot of where we talk about stuff, but you know, we've been asked a lot, and I think it's a December, January thing. I really do. We get asked a lot, but lately it's been a lot more about coaching, right? I get asked all the time about coaching, right? I always tell them the same thing. It's $10,000 a month. You can prepay $100,000, pay for the whole year if you want. You can do a 2-pay for $55,000. I have a lot of specific things that we do. You get a lot of access to me, and it's worth every dime. And I've never been overpaid my entire life. So guess what? We will rock your world for $10,000 a month. Then we have Thommy, who has done his Spark program, which is, first of all, before I even talk about it, do you have any spots left?
Two. two
right?
spots.
So there's 2 spots. And by the way, Cynthia Yosha Schneider, I just want you to know this might be a really good fit for you. And it's normally, it's $1,200 a month for 3 months. It's, get this, Thommy is coaching every week for an hour. And he's starting similarly to the way that he started with Jenna, except it's more intense. It's an hour a week for 12 straight weeks to start the new year. And it's called Spark. And instead of being $1,200 a month, you can also get in for, I think it's $3,200 for 1-pay.
Yeah.
Or you can do $1,200 a month, and you can go to Spark 2021, but you got to hurry. There's 2 spots. I mean, it's like,
literally,
that's legit, right?
It's legit. Very legit.
We're not using scarcity and scare tactics or anything like that. He literally has to keep it low because it's an hour a week. It's very intense. Well, Thommy and I, over the last 6 months, and Sherry, and with Jenna's input and a lot of other coaching clients' input, we have put together not just Catalyst, but new Catalyst, a new Catalyst program. Thommy, can you kind of describe this new Catalyst program? Because, you know, Jenna, you were kind of, I don't want to say a guinea pig, but a cute guinea pig, right? So it's like, you know, it's like you were a test trial or a case study for what we wanted to do with Catalyst, right? So you're like, I don't care, it worked. You know, it's like, okay,
whatever.
Yeah. So what we did is we put it in a bottle, right? And so can you describe the bottle, Thommy, of Catalyst? Like, what is Catalyst?
Yeah, I think it goes down to, if you look at the 7L system, I think people should be, if you consume darn near anything, convinced that the system works. Mm-hmm. It's just a question of like, does it work for me? I've heard everything from, I don't have time to implement the system, which I'm like, well, that's why you need the system, right. You know, to a lot of different things. And then the system starts working, and then the overwhelm comes, and you're forced to go, you know, more systems, more raising your levels of performance. So what we really went through are like, why are the reasons why people don't take action in the system? And it always drives back to mindset at the end of the day in one way or another. So we put together to go through, we took Catalyst and revised it to having mindset sessions. So the whole system is 2 group calls per month. 1 is entirely mindset driven. Mm-hmm. So we go through, the topics are clarity, energy, courage, productivity, and influence.
Oh, say that again.
Yeah, clarity. Mm-hmm. So getting clear on who you want to be in the marketplace and how you want to show up every day. And that drives your energy, by the way. It makes you attractive to people. Energy, which is, you know, but not just like physical and mental energy, protecting your mental energy. Courage, so fear, right? But also expressing yourself. Like having those relationships that maybe are those 4 or 5, like how do you have that conversation courageously to make a boundary around that, right? That's part of the growth of 7L. Productivity, goes without saying, but productivity is like not just check the tasks off.
Right.
It's moving the needle on the things that matter. And then influence, right? Teaching people how to think, role model the way, and challenge them, and learning how to do that in your interactions. I mean, I think we know, like 7L at the core, it's about you're becoming an influencer in your community if you're executing the system. Right. So we go through each month for 6 months. We're going to go through one of those topics, and then the second call of the month is going to be all 7L. And that's all about the strategy behind. And it's really what I did is I took, again, Jenna got to be the test bunny. So we took that whole startup process and put it into a step-by-step course with accountability. So everyone in the group is going to be learning the same exact process and curriculum. So they're learning together. So you can ask questions from me, but as well, learn from each other as they're executing, which I've also been doing. This goes back even further, testing it with experience benefits and things like that. So it's been an evolution to get it to that point. So we put that together to do it for 6 months and really want to focus on the initial group altogether.
So it's 12 sessions.
Yep.
It's 6 months every other week. How long is each session?
1 hour.
1 hour. So 1 hour group session every other week. The first one of the month is going to be very mindset heavy, just getting the mind right, getting your energy right. And then the second one is heavy productivity, very heavy on, hey, listen, implement this from 7L to drive your business, to drive your referrals. And you're going to do that for 6 months. When's it start, Thommy?
So the first call will be January 11th. Okay. But that's the first call. We're going to cut off enrollment at the end of the year. Yeah. So we can onboard and make sure that, I really would love to have conversations with everybody. So I really know the people in the group and where they're at in their business. So we're going to cut off at the end of the year. And the first call will be January 11th. Yeah,
this is not intended to be some mass scope. I know that the other companies put out things like Pivot Coaching and things like that. They were just mass webinars, faceless webinars. This is much more like forming a team, forming a group. We're all going to be in this together. We're going to, tough it out. We're going to have a support personnel. We're going to have accountability. But we're also going to start the year right, starting on January 11th with your first catalyst. It's a 1 hour. 2 weeks later, you'll meet again for another hour, and you do that for 6 months. It's just a 6-month program, but here's another kicker, right? Is our previous Catalyst program was basically people. We had people in Catalyst for like 6 years. The thing is, you're going to graduate out of Catalyst. That's the beauty of this is it ends. You're going to get this. If you want to take it again, you can take it again. But the thing is you're going to graduate from Catalyst and you're going to be ready for the next challenge. And I love that about this new and improved Catalyst. It is a catalyst, right? Catalyst a catalyst wears out. It does. Like in a chemical equation, right? The catalyst dissipates, it dissolves, right? And then you're ready for the next infusion of energy, of education, take to the next level. So I love that. And I love that it's tested, right? It's proven, it works. And I love how much thought that Thommy and Sherry and I have put into this. And I know that those that you choose, it's catalystregistration.com. For those of you that are interested, how much is it per month, right? It's not 10,000. It's not, it's not 1,200 a month, like your individual program, right?
Yeah, no, it's 500 a month for 6 months, full pay at 2,500.
So you can do 500 a month to do the budget friendly approach, or you can do, what is it for the one pay?
That would be the tax friendly approach. And it's 2,500 with end of
the
year
2,500 would be the tax friendly approach. You do 2,500 now, you write it off this year. And you get all the benefit for the first 6 months of next year. So Catalyst, CATALYST, which is create authentic transformation and launch your success today. Registration.com, catalystregistration.com. There are limited seats for that. We encourage you to get into it. It's the new and improved program. I'm very excited to launch this and see how you launch your 2021. Thommy, you had something to add to that?
Yeah, I do. So if you kind of are like, I'm curious about this, or I'm curious about the mindset component, I actually scheduled a call on the 21st. So it's tomorrow from the date of this recording, at 4:00 Eastern. I'm going to do a group strategy call where I will go through each of those areas that I mentioned and give you a little bit of a taste of what it's going to feel like being in there. So just no obligation. So if that's something you want to do, you can go to talktothommy.com, Thommy with an H, obviously. Yep. And that'll take you to the Zoom registration page. If you can't attend, just register anyway, because then I have the list of people to be able to send the replay. So we threw that in there, and I may do another one too before the end of the month. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, or it's full, right? I mean,
yeah.
We have plenty of people who watch the weekly wow, and they're going to catalystregistration.com. They know they're in 100%. They're ready to go. And there may be just a few spots left on December 21st when he does that. I would sign up and then attend the session. That's what I would do, right? Because here's the thing that I know people know about Referco. If we're going to do it, it's either going to be really, really awesome, or if you have a problem, we're going to make it really, really awesome, right? It's like on a scale of 1 to 10, we're not satisfied with less than a 12, and if you give us a 9, then we're going to figure out what does it take to make that a 10 or 11 or 12. We only produce life-changing courses. That's all we do. I've been approached about so many different things that we could do that were a sales thing, right? It's to generate some income. And trust me, this year we could use some things that generated income, right? I haven't been on the road. We haven't done a lot of live events. We've done very well this year, but it's because we had to adapt. We adapted very early on, right? After I curled up in a fetal position and cried, right, for several months. But it's one of those where we learned, we lived, we adapted and made it happen. But there were, a lot of opportunities that came across my desk to sell stuff to the generosity generation. I don't do that. You guys know that, right? We did battle plan. I'm telling you right now, those battle planners are freaking happy. Like we blew them away with content stuff. They didn't just get one planner, they got 2, right? So it's one of those where, I think the bottom line is you can sign up for the new and improved Catalyst. Those of you that have been in Catalyst in the past, get involved, make it happen. It's 6 months. You're going to graduate from it, and if you just get one idea that generates a referral, it pays for itself, 4 to 100 times over. So Jenna, what are your thoughts on what you've heard so far and heard about the Catalyst program and that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that it's the same thing that we just did and that we're still doing. And I can't say enough good things about it, because I'm now 5 months after when we started, which is where they will be towards the end of the program. And my business isn't slowing down. My business, I usually have a closing or 2 in December, and that's it. And I have 6 closings this week.
Yeah.
So
this week, not this month, this week.
This week I have 6 closings.
Yeah.
I have, on top of that, I have 4 listing appointments, 2 of which need to buy as well. So that sets me up for January. I mean, if you follow the protocol and just do, all you have to do is what he tells you to do. It's not, it's not rocket science. It's nothing that makes you feel uncomfortable. Just do your action items and watch the results unfold in 6 months. And at the end of it, you're going to be like, what the heck? Why was I so upset about $500 a month?
Yeah. Or, I get it 100%. I mean, 500 is too low. The Catalyst program is going up. I'm telling you right now, it's because here's the thing. It's the old age is that if you group coach, you have to do it for like less than $1,000, but that's because all the other group coaching sucks, right? All the other group coaching doesn't have accountability. It doesn't have the intensity and the frequency or the material of what we're covering. Like when people are churning out in 6 months, when people have 6 closings in 1 week and they have 6 new pieces of business that they're working for 6 more closings in the future, then word is going to spread about Catalyst, and we're going to have to up the price. So I think it's one of those where it's a beautiful thing. So everybody, I think one big thing is you really, my call to action from this weekly wow is you really have 3 options. You could hire me as your coach at a brokerage level, a corporate level, or an individual level, team leader level. I coach a lot of team leaders, but it's one of those where it's $10,000 a month. It's worth every penny. You can do a one pay of $100,000 if you want to. You can do that. Trust me, if you want to be at $1 million and you want to go to 10 million, I can help you do that. That's one of the options you have. There's 2 seats in Spark, which is Tommy's program. That is a 3-month program. It starts January 4th, essentially, and it's 1-hour calls every week for 12 weeks in a row. Very intense coaching. Spark one-on-one coaching, and it's $1,200 a month. Right? You can check into that at spark2021.com, spark2021.com. The final option, and I'm telling you, like, hello, new and improved Catalyst, catalystregistration.com. It starts January 11th. It's 1-hour group, small group, and you will be doing it every other week for 6 months, and then you graduate and you'll be ready for the 30-day challenge courses. So those are your options from today. You can get results like Jenna. I do have to just throw out there that you may not get results like Jenna. And in fact, here's what I'll tell you. If you sign up for Catalyst and you don't do anything, you're going to get nothing, and you deserve it. But I'm telling you right now that if you sign up and you do things, you have a real opportunity to experience the growth that Jenna has seen. So that's my 2 cents on all of that. That's about as hard, like core explanatory coaching as I've ever been on a weekly wow or a daily dose. And you know why? What the heck have I been holding back from? You know what I mean? Like, we're changing lives. We're making things happen. It's like, I should be on top of the mountain talking about this, you know? So anyway, bottom line, make it happen. So Jenna, final words of wisdom for our generosity generation, for those that want to experience similar growth like you did. You know, what are some words of wisdom?
It's life-changing. It's not just life-changing for you, but it's life-changing for the people that you're helping. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Oh my God. That's such a powerful statement, because it's like, we talk, like, something that's really bold for me right now. It's just like, people are talking about going from transactional with their business to relational. You're still behind. People are still behind. We don't want to go from transactional to just relational, because you know what? That's already what happens. You go from transactional to relational when you sell something, when you go through a sales process, especially as intense as a real estate or a car, you're going to go from transactional to relational. It's just sometimes those relationships suck. But here's the thing is, we need to stop thinking about going from transactional to relational. We need to start thinking about going from transactional to transformational. We need to transform our clients into lifelong friends and brand ambassadors. They need to be so happy with us, and they need to know that they can count on us at the highest level, that they have been transformed. They are now a walking, talking billboard, but they're more than that. There's somebody that knows that you got their back, that they can count on you. So I love that you just said that. You said it better than I did, and it took me a lot longer. Thank you. So Thommy, final words of wisdom.
You are the gift. You are the gift. It's
Yeah.
time to unwrap it, man. 2021. There's just been so many people that had so much growth this year, and we've all chosen our perspectives on the year and our perceptions of what's happening. And chances are, if you're listening, you're watching right now, you're definitely in the growth mindset. So you're the gift. Let's go unwrap it in 2021.
Yeah, I love that. You are the gift. You don't need to give gifts. You are the gift.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to give items of value and trinkets. You don't need to go pop by somebody's house and give them ketchup and mustard, because you know what? They already have ketchup and mustard, right? So I think the biggest thing is that you are the gift. You are the attraction. You know, you are the one that they'll come for. You are the one that they'll call. You are the gift. And, that's something really big to remember this year is all we have to do is just work on ourselves. If we work on ourselves, the value of the gift is even more impressive. the value of the gift is even more. And I'll tell you, I'm so excited about the future of ReferCo. I'm so excited about your future as a Generosity Generation member because we're starting to figure some things out. And honestly, 2020 was the year of 7L. Like, it was a coming out party for 7L. Everybody's figuring it out that like a lot of those other ways suck. And what we do isn't just like good. It's freaking awesome. It's love, generosity, and appreciation. It's hard to argue with. So, ladies and gentlemen, happy holidays. You know what? I don't think we do one next week. I think it's Christmas next week, and we do not have a weekly wow. So this is the last one before Christmas. I know Hanukkah started last Friday. And so happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, happy Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. And if you don't celebrate anything, just know I love you too. And I think the bottom line is that, you know what, happy holidays and wrap this year up in a pleasant little bow. I know the bow is a vomit green color. I get it. If 2020 was a candy, it would be like a vomit flavored black licorice stick. You know what I mean? If 2020 was a client appreciation event, it would be the Grinch scaring the crap out of kids, right? If you guys haven't seen my post today in Gen, you need to check it out. But it's like, I get it, right? But 2021 is going to be just like 2020. It's going to be. I mean, there's going to be lockdown. There's going to be all kinds of stuff. And just know that how well you adapt, how quickly you adapt. And we have put programs in place to help you adapt quicker and better than ever before. Maybe this is the year, 2021, that you focus on mastering 7L. And with mastering 7L, it's mastering self-improvement. It's mastering the human side of the world. And you take this human approach to sales and you live an awesome life with it. So build your business based on love, generosity, and appreciation. Your purpose of your business is for your business to be referable. Otherwise, what the heck are you doing? And guess what? Your purpose in life is to be referable. Otherwise, what the heck, right? Do you not want to be referable? Do you not want to be the one people call on? Can people count on you? The number one compliment in the world, I can count on you. So guess what? When you're part of the Generosity Generation, people can count on you. And I'm counting on you to come back after we take a week off from the Weekly Wow. Jenna, thank you so much for being our guest on the Weekly Wow today. Lots of wows.
Thank you so much.
And Thommy, thank you for being Thommy with an H. Thank you for being awesome. And thank you for being our co-host on the Weekly Wow today.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will see you on the next edition. This is a special edition of the Referrals Podcast. Check it out at referralspodcast.com, iTunes, Google Stitcher, or Google Play. I'm sorry. The bottom line is you can check out the Weekly Wow every single week here in the Generosity Generation group at joingengen.com. We'd love to have you. If you're awesome, you'll fit in great. If you're not awesome, we'll help you become awesome. So you'll fit in great. Have a great one. See you, everybody.